Shooting last night, and 2 of our officers were forced to engage an armed subject with lethal force. As you can hear on the body-worn camera video, the sergeant ordered Johns to drop the gun while Mrs. Johns is screaming in a panic, running from her husband. As always, FDLE is investigating the shooting, and this process can take up to several months to complete. From what I've been told and have seen, there is every reason to believe the officers were justified in acting within the scope of the law. At this time, we have not established a motive for Gary Johns' actions. We do believe alcohol was a factor. The officers involved in the shooting last night are Sergeant Adam Burrs. He has been working as a police officer with the city since May of 2012, and K-9 officer Sammy Epitropoulos, who has been with us since June of 2014. The officers did what they are trained to do, and I have no doubt their actions saved a life last night. They are home with their families on administrative leave, which is common for these types of events. Thank you.
Chief, if you will, if you just start by talking about the timeline, if you will, on the body cam that we see. We hear a shot early on. You believe that's one of the shots that was fired by the suspect at that point?
Yes, as far as we can tell, the first shot that you hear in the body camera video is the subject, Gary Johns, firing at his wife.
And just to talk a little bit about the fact that when the officers got there, this was an active shooting situation. He was allegedly attacking his wife.
Yes, when you can hear on the 911 tapes that she was asking him why, and she was pleading with him, why are you doing this to me? And when we got there, we had that information, and so that's why we got there and we set up a perimeter and established the scene, and we're getting ready to take it to the next step when he came out of the house. First of all, his wife came running out of the house screaming, and with him in tow, shooting at her. And so we had to take action.
How long was the incident? How long did it go on for?
They say the entire incident lasted probably less than 7 minutes from the time we got there, because the first arriving officer was only 6-7 blocks down the street when the call came out. She was there rather quickly, I think 1.86 minutes.
Chief, you could hear your officers say, you know, put the gun down, put the gun down. Did he ever point at your officers and or fire at your officers?
That hasn't been determined yet, because we have not really had a good interview with the officers yet. It's still too early to really sit down and get their story. They got to be able to rest and recoup.
But their reaction at this point, then, the reaction is because he refused to put his gun down and he was actively shooting at his wife.
Correct.
Talk about the injury she suffered.
All I know is that she had a through and through chest wound. That's really all I know at this point.
So she'd been shot?
She had definitely been shot, yes.
When they arrived?
By him.
Were there any children in the house or anybody else?
No, we were supposed just the 2 of them in the house.
Can you talk about calls to service previously, Chief? Have you been, is this a problem house? Had you been there?
It's not a problem house. We were there back in 2002 for a domestic violence call where a firearm was implied at that one as well.
With the same victim?
Yes.
But was he arrested back then?
Yeah, he was charged with aggravated battery or aggravated assault. Aggravated assault. He didn't actually shoot her, he just brandished the firearm.
To the same victim, but that was 2002?
2002.
And all's been quiet since then.
Chief, Sergeant Burrs has won multiple awards, including 2 life-saving awards. Can you talk about those awards he was given back in 2016 for the life-saving awards?
I can't speak to them without looking back at the cases. It's been
okay.
Will you talk a little bit about the, oh, I'm sorry, Mike,
no,
finish. We talk about the impact on the officers. You know, sometimes we don't often think about, you know, that they may never have had to fire their weapons, you know, in reaction like this before. How difficult that can be. I know they're trained, but regardless, to take a life in defense of someone else.
Well, I mean, these are not hardened soldiers. These guys aren't, you know, they're equipped to deal with it as best that we can train them with it, but you really can't ever anticipate how you're going to feel until it actually happens to you. They're in good spirits, and they know that they have the support of the community and the department behind them, and if they need anything, we're going to get it for them. But they seem to be in good spirits, and they understand that they did what they had to do.
Has the victim been able to tell you anything about what spurred this? I know you sent...
No, at this time we haven't had any really good conversation with her. She's got her own issues right now to deal with.
She's in the hospital, recovering?
I believe she was treated and released.
Correct.
But you know, she's mourning the death of her husband at the time, so we don't really have access to her at the time. This
The
time.
bullet, do you know where on her chest?
I do not know
Around?
specifics, no.
Wow, treated and released for a chest wound, which, yeah, that's pretty good.
What kind of weapon did he have?
The weapon we recovered from the front yard's a handgun.
Were there any other weapons inside the home?
As far as I know, there were some other weapons in the home. You guys are getting this to you real early. I haven't seen the results of the search warrant or any of that yet, so.
He's not like a former law enforcement, he's not anybody you guys knew in the community, short of the 2002 engagement.
Not that I'm aware of. Okay? I'm done.
No, they, you know, it's not
I'm
much,
done.
you know. So.
You guys will stay all day.
But wow,